Okay, so the recording started. So once again, my name's Kevin Ross, and joining me is
Susan Martucci.
And our goal tonight is to brief you on how to have a successful event with us at the Seattle Regional. As an overview, what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to talk about the paperwork that we need you to bring and general logistics of sort of arriving and parking and such. How to check in with our stalwart volunteer check-in people, and a little bit about what the schedule is, and we want to make sure that you know who some of the key volunteers are, because those are probably some of the people you may be working with. Susan, would you like to tell them about pre-event paperwork?
Pre-event paperwork. Every single person that comes to the venue to work at the event needs to sign a consent and release form. This is a form from FIRST, and it will be collected one time. If you have already volunteered at another event and turned it in, you may tell us that you have done that, and that your word will be okay. You need to bring that with you if you can. It will save a lot of time on check-in. I included it with the volunteer email, or Kevin has it posted up on the firstwa.org website if you need to download it. It's just a quick one-page form that says you are allowing us, it's probably got a photography release in there, and you won't hold us harmless, and FIRST requires that of everybody. So it will greatly speed up check-in if you will please have that with you. I will have a few extra copies at the table, so don't turn around and go back and get it if you've forgotten it, but please do try to bring that. The other paperwork is something called a conflict of interest form. I also included that in the email. If you're in any role that you feel like might have any type of decision-making capability, or if you know you work with a team and are volunteering at the event, please sign one of these. And that's just basically you saying that you will not favor any one team over another. You will be impartial while you're doing your volunteer job. So if you could do those two forms and bring them with you, it will be great.
And then the other thing that...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm looking at the bottom of the slide. If you want something different on your name badge, right now I automatically print what you've registered in VIMS with, and most of you registered with your full given names. If you would like to go by a nickname, example Tom instead of Thomas, go ahead and send me a quick email. I'll be printing probably Tuesday afternoon, so I need to have the email that gives me your nickname by tomorrow afternoon.
All right, and Kathy Saxton is just wanted to clarify, if you have already volunteered at another FRC regional, you do not need to bring another consent form. Okay. So let's talk about the next topic, which is what to bring with you.
Oh, yes. You need to be wearing very comfortable shoes. This is in the CenturyLink Event Center, which is huge. You will be going up and down stairs and across a lot of terrain. So you want to wear comfortable shoes. They must be closed-toe shoes. That's what's required on the field, in the pits, in the machine shop. So you're just pretty much not going to be anywhere that closed toes are not required. Tennis shoes are really good. It's a blue jean, a casual event. We will give you a t-shirt to wear during the event. So you know, come casual, come comfortable. If your job is going to be an inspection in the machine shop where you might be in the unheated portion, you might want to wear layers or bring a jacket. If you are assigned to work on the field, field personnel, this includes people, probably the team queuing and the field reset, as well as all of the people working around the field. I want you to wear long pants. Jeans are okay, dark jeans or dark pants of some sort, and your volunteer shirt. We're going to keep kind of a uniform appearance on the field. Hopefully we'll have a lot of media come look at us and a lot of photographs being taken and put around, and we want to have kind of a uniform professional look there. Mentioning the inspection area, the shop, the load-in areas, all of that's open to the elements. So if your job is going to have you out there, bring a coat and some layers. Water will be available. We are not providing water bottles. There will be drinks with the meals, and they should be refillable during between meals. But if you want to bring a water bottle, that would be great. And
if
yes.
I can jump in there, I just want everybody to realize we're not trying to be terribly cheap, but it turns out that every one of those little water bottles that we have to get from the catering costs about $3. And I know that we can go to Costco and get an entire flat for $3, but that isn't how it works. So we literally one year had a $12,000 water bill. So we're trying not to do that. So if you could bring one, we'd appreciate it.
That will work much better. We have many other places we would rather spend our money, especially on teams. And you all should know the term gracious professionalism. If you don't, please learn it. Things don't always go quite as planned, but First Wa has great karma here in the Northwest, so things will go one way or the other, and they usually turn out good for us. But if you'll just roll with it and keep things flowing and try to keep a smile on your face, that will go a long way.
When in doubt, always do the friendliest thing. It works like a charm.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to take over here for a minute and tell you about just the general logistics of figuring out where the heck you are. Now, the event is at CenturyLink Event Center, and if you go look online, a lot of the maps still say Quest on them because they haven't updated themselves yet. But the Quest area, or the CenturyLink area, is very large. We are going to be in the Event Center, which is down here in the lower left. It's on the corner of Occidental and South Royal Brome Way. There is a parking garage right next door. The CenturyLink Field parking garage. Parking costs $11 per day. Unfortunately, we're unable to pay for parking. It's outside of our purview. So we appreciate your gracious donation. If you're going to be there all 3 days, when you pull in, you can ask for a 3-day pass. It's $33 for 3 days, but it gives you in-out privileges. So if you were planning on maybe running out and getting lunch somewhere else, or needed to run errands or something during the day, it's actually a pretty good deal. So we kind of recommend that. Otherwise, it's $11 per day, but you don't get to come and go as you please. So basically, just follow the directions to get to the stadiums and look for the CenturyLink parking facility. See, what else do I need to know? Public transportation is actually pretty good. There are light rail stations. Light rail station, I believe, is right here where the mouse is, so you can kind of see where the train tracks are. And there's actually pretty reasonable bus service down here if you need it. You can also, if you want, you can probably find cheaper parking elsewhere, but honestly, $11 for an entire day in downtown Seattle isn't actually all that bad. Okay. All right. Let's talk about food.
Okay. You want me to take that one, or you want to go with that?
Sure, go ahead.
If you are volunteering for a whole day, and most of you will be, because we don't actually do a lot of half-day volunteers, most of you will be there for the whole day. We will have a breakfast in the morning. Breakfast will start around 7 o'clock and run till about 8:30. Most volunteer jobs start between 8 and 8:30, so if you do want to eat, you probably want to get there between that 7 and 8 o'clock time. Lunch, it's generally around noon. It covers a little outside the window, more like 11:30 to 1:30. The people who are working on the field will come up and eat lunch when the field shuts down, so there will be a mass of people at that one time. So all other jobs, we stagger and possibly come eat around 11:30 or maybe eat at 12:30 so that we can kind of meter people through. But we will give you a breakfast and a lunch, and we have a gift sponsor, so there'll probably be a soft drink and a very light snack in the afternoon. Typically, volunteers should be done by 5 o'clock on most days. The exception to that will be in the pit and inspection type roles who are staying with the pit stays open after the field on Thursday, and that stays open until 8 o'clock. And because of that, volunteers that are working in that area and need to stay all the way till 8 o'clock will get a dinner around 6 or 6:30, but that will be for less than half of the volunteers. Most everybody should be done around 5 on Thursday. The concessions will be open every day, Thursday through Saturday, and you're welcome to purchase anything there. That's actually a requirement. We are not allowed to bring in your own lunch. You could bring some snacks if you need them and keep them in your car. To the best of our knowledge, if you go outside into your car area, you can eat what you want there if you need some extra snacks or some extra food along the way. But we can't bring in a lot of extra different things. So there will be a volunteer lounge on the upper mezzanine area, and we'll have our meals up there, our breakfast, our lunch, and snacks will be out there.
So, and I shall now attempt to do a very delicate and gracious, just kind of a heads up.
Yep.
we're happy to, we are more than happy to feed you, and because you're working hard for us, and we really appreciate that. Unfortunately, because of the expense, we're unable to feed your family. So if you've got visitors with you, we're unable to feed them. And you know, I'll just give you the dirty secret is that it costs us about $18 per meal to feed you, and so we can't really feed your whole family. So we obviously we appreciate everything you're doing for us, but we've ordered a set amount of food based on the number of volunteers we have. So we ask your forgiveness in our inability to feed any guests that you end up bringing with you. So to get into the volunteer food, you'll actually need a volunteer badge. Okay?
You need a volunteer badge, and when we go over check-in, there'll actually be a sticker that will authorize you for lunch and breakfast each day. And we do, in another little delicate situation, because we do stretch the food time so long between 11:30 and 1:30, we ask, please, that the volunteers that do end up eating early just kind of be considerate of the fact that there is a set amount of food, and we do want to have enough left at the latter half of the mealtime to feed everybody that will be coming through. So when you're hungry, please eat, but let's not overeat because there's not really an unlimited supply of food. And we have run out in the past, and it's been a little uncomfortable for those coming in at 1:15 hoping to pick up their lunch. So if we'll just kind of all watch that and monitor that, and certainly if you feel like you want to come back for seconds at the end to kind of see what's left over, you know, feel free.
Yep. So that fourth cookie is coming out of somebody else's lunch. So, okay. We're trying to be delicate about it, but don't hog out on us, please. Okay. When you arrive from the parking garage, you're going to go to level 2, which is also called the concourse level, and you're going to find one of my favorite people on the planet, Kathy Saxton, and her little merry band of folks. Oh, actually, Kathy's here, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
I knew she was. I'm going to unmute you, Kathy, so if you've got anything playing in the background. Oh, there we go. Do you have your microphone on?
I do.
Oh, you do. So Kathy and her friends will handle checking you in every day. So when you come in the morning, the first time we're going to gather some paperwork from you and give you a badge and a T-shirt and some other nice things. And then from every day after that, we're going to come in, and your badge has a little barcode on it. We're going to scan you just so we can keep track of who's in the building and who isn't. I believe we're going to set Kathy up on the concourse level, which is right inside from the parking garage, and you'll see a volunteer check-in, and there's probably a little bit of a line there. We're going to start volunteer check-in at 7 a.m., and at least for the first day, it's going to take you like 15 minutes to check in. So kind of think of that a little bit beforehand. And then we've got an area, if you've brought some stuff with you, we have an area in the up near that concourse level that is semi-secure. Semi-secure meaning that there's almost always somebody in there However, there's a lot of people coming and going, so you're probably okay to leave your coat and stuff. I don't know that I would bring your children's education fund and leave it on the table. It may not be that secure, but you're welcome to leave your coats or backpacks or whatever in this area. And then once you've checked in, also up on the concourse level is our volunteer lounge, and you're welcome to come down and have breakfast with us. Any other amazing things going to happen, Kathy?
I think
that one go to the next
slide.
picture.
Oh.
Yeah, if you go to the next slide, I hope, did that one get in there?
There we go.
Yes. Kathy, you want to explain that just a little bit, or you want me to?
You're welcome to. I'm guessing you've rehearsed it.
Oh yeah, this is real rehearsed. When you come in, you're going to see a long row of tables, and the little arrow of my little line of people, it is going to be offset from the front door just a little bit, so you kind of head to your right to the volunteer check-in, and the first thing you'll see is kind of a forms and ID check. So there'll be a person there that's collecting your forms and double-checking your picture ID. You do need to bring a picture ID the very first day. Once your forms and ID are checked, the next person in the line on the at the table will gather up your shirt and proper badge. We should have a t-shirt for you and a badge with your name on it, hopefully with your nickname if you'd let me know, and that should be all ready for you to go. That will then get passed to Kathy, who's probably sitting at the little blue box, which will be a computer, and that will take care of scanning your badge, getting you any pins or things that you are due from FIRST, clarifying any forms, that making sure they're in there and collected, and then getting a lunch sticker. And then you will proceed on down to the right, which is where the volunteer lounge will be. So that first day, it does take just a little bit of time to get through these steps because there's several people in line. You'll see what I have over to the right is something called an express lane. So if you get all of this information on Thursday morning, you now have a badge with a barcode. Every time you check in after that, which may be Friday and Saturday morning, you simply step up to the express lane, and Kathy will quickly scan those volunteers, and they'll move on down to breakfast, and you don't have to wait in that line. The exception to this on Thursday morning is there is no express lane really. Not very many people will have their badges in advance, but inspectors have a job to do very early in the morning. So with this line of people, we're asking with a little bit of patience to let anybody who's identified themselves as a robot inspector to be able to jump to the front of the line and get their forms turned in and their shirts picked up and things, because they don't really have much time for breakfast before they have to get to work right away. The rest of us on Thursday morning, most jobs that have to do with the field, there's not a big rush, so you'll have plenty of time to have breakfast till 8 or 9 o'clock. Your team leaders may tell you what time you need to be there, but inspectors and some of the pit people have to get there right away. So you may see there'll be probably another volunteer out there kind of asking for inspectors, so hopefully it won't be too much grumpiness if a couple people cut in the front of the line to get certain jobs staffed really early in the morning. And then again, once you got your badge, that express lane will work for you the next days, and it will take just seconds. You'll come up, you'll scan, and you'll be on your way.
After you get your lunch sticker.
After you get your lunch sticker, that's right. This is the place to get your lunch sticker, and people will not be allowed into the lunchroom for lunch without the lunch sticker. So that'll be a requirement that we know for catering numbers exactly how many people we are expecting. I have to give updated numbers by about 10 o'clock every morning. So I need to know who's in the building and how many we're exactly feeding for lunch. And I know that based on how many people have checked in and had their badges scanned. So if you'll help us with that, it will make the food go much nicer, and the volunteer coordinator will be much happier. All right?
Okay, and Ken has asked a great question. If we come and go during the day, there's no reason to check in again, right? And that is correct. You only need to check in once in the morning. Okay.
And question about setting up on Wednesday. Kathy and I will be setting up this area on Wednesday. We will not be ready to check people in between the hours of probably 1 and 4 o'clock. But if you happen to be an inspector or a volunteer who is there after, say, 4 o'clock, you can come up to this table and we should be able to handle your paperwork and get you your shirt and your badge Wednesday night. And that would actually allow you to come to the express lane Thursday morning.
And just because I can, this is the layout for the main field, and up here you can see this is the volunteer lounge. These little tables up here. Volunteer food is on the concourse level. You go up these stairs to get to it, and Kathy and friends will be right over here on the right side by this set of stairs, and that's where the check-in is. And it turns out that that's where you're going to walk in from the parking garage anyway. So if you're looking for volunteer check-in, it's on the concourse level, which is one level up from the main floor, up in this corner. Okay. If you show up on Wednesday, and are a volunteer / inspector type person, you may come park in the East Hall for Wednesday only. The multi-day pass does not cover Wednesday, but we can park inside the East Hall, and we'll direct you where to park. If you're working just on Friday and Saturday, you can check in the first day that you're there. You don't need to come down and make a special trip just to check in. We'll get you on Friday morning. Thanks for asking that.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Some please do's. We're rather neurotic about safety at first because there are power tools and such being used. So we enforce vigorously the idea of wearing safety glasses whenever you're within the pit area. The pit area is this big section in the center, and you can see there are safety glass stations on all 4 corners. If you're within this curtained area, you must have safety glasses on, and we expect that from everybody. Also, if you're within this curtained area around the fields, we also expect you to be wearing safety glasses. The robots are operating out here, and some of them are under pressure, and they have springs and stuff. So, and again, we just enforce that rule for everybody over there. First, if you're new to FIRST, we have this thing called gracious professionalism. It's the ethic that makes the FIRST community what it is. Gracious and professional means that we try to be nice to each other at all times. And so it's really important. The kids you'll find have adopted this. They're very, very pleasant. Most of the experienced volunteers are very pleasant. And you'll fall right in line with all of this because it's hard not to. Everybody here is here to have a good time. If you're giving directions to the teams, make sure and convey the information that needs to be conveyed, but we don't really bark at people or yell at people. We're more of a, boy, I'd really appreciate it if you would sort of folks, and then always thank them for being gracious and professional. And so that's part of what makes this a fun environment for the students is that, it's just a very, very nice, polite thing. And feel free to talk to the students. Even if you're just walking by a bunch of kids who are coming the other way, give them a high five. What the heck? They'll high five you back, and it's just sort of part of the ethics of being in a FIRST community. So it's a lot of fun. Let me tell you a little bit about the schedule, this sort of the big gross schedule of what's happening during this event. On Wednesday, most of the volunteers on Wednesday are there to set up the fields. We'll be setting up the game fields and an enormous production. There's AV equipment and fields, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. In the late afternoon, starting at about 6 o'clock, teams are going to start arriving, and they'll be dropping off their robot parts. They'll be dropping off their robot and the stuff that goes in their pit area. So it's sort of a drop-off and delivery day. We do one level of inspections that day, so we'll have inspectors on site. But the reality is Wednesday is basically a setup, and not much is going to happen. Thursday is the teams arrive in mass, and they will start working on the robots. And they have from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Roughly to work on their robots that day. And so they'll be busy in the pits trying to get the robots to pass inspection. They'll be doing some practice rounds, and there's just it's not really a public day per se. We don't really expect spectators or anything like that, but there will be a lot of people there, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. Friday and Saturday are when the actual contest happens. It starts with our kickoff ceremony, which we're going to start with a parade starting at about 8:40 in the morning. At 9 o'clock we have what we call our opening ceremonies. That'll last about a half hour, and then the game kicks off at 9:30. The game will be played on those big. Seattle is unique. We have 2 play fields in one large building. We're the only regional that does this. There are 2 independent games running. There's the Olympic field over here on the right, the Cascade field over here on the left. The pit area is divided in half, and the left side are all the teams on Cascade, the right side are all the teams on Olympic. These 2 games, after the opening ceremonies, these 2 games actually run independently. We're sharing some things. We share the pit admin, we share the spare parts, we share the inspectors. But aside from that, each field has its own set of volunteers doing things. There's a scorekeeper on each field, there are referees on each field reset people for each field, judges for each field. If you find that you've been assigned to the Cascade field or the Olympic field, that is sort of your domain. There's likely to be somebody who's mirroring your job already on the other field. If you get confused about that, ask whoever seems to be in charge. We should hopefully be able to tell you who your key volunteer is. Otherwise, you can ask Susan Martucci or find somebody that looks like they know what they're talking about, and we'll help get you put into the right place. All right. The games will be running Friday and Saturday, starting from 9:30, and we have about a noon lunch break, and then starting up again about 1 o'clock. Friday we're going to run till about 5:30 with the games on both fields, and on Saturday we should be done around 4:30. You should expect that you're probably not really going to get out of the venue until about at least 6 o'clock on Friday, and you probably won't get out of the venue again until probably like 5:30, 6 o'clock on Saturday. If you plan that way, we might let you out early and you can go, yay, I get to go home. Also happening at this event on Saturday, just so everybody's aware of it, we're doing, first is a series of 4 programs. The other 3 programs, Junior First LEGO League, First LEGO League, and the First Tech Challenge, are going to have demonstration areas set up on one end of the building. So, and we're calling that First for All Ages. It's our opportunity to show the spectators and the public what the other programs are. And this is great because it allows the younger kids to see how they can get involved. So that is also happening down here. Whew. That's a lot.
Wow, that is a lot.
Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on. Let me finish out this section by just pointing out that Wednesday, if you're a volunteer and you think you're coming before 1 o'clock, you should probably get a hold of me, Kevin Ross, or Susan Martucci to verify that you're actually supposed to be there before 1 o'clock. In other words, you're not supposed to be there before 1 o'clock. There's very, very few of us who will be there. Also, Saturday evening, we are gone Saturday evening, so everything gets packed up and taken out of the building on Saturday night. So if you're thinking that you're supposed to be there Sunday or that you're going to come back and pick up something on Sunday, you need to talk to me again because that isn't going to happen. All right? Yay. Let's see what else. Now what happens? Just a little bit. I guess I kind of already talked about this.
A little more details, yeah.
Yeah. If your field assembly, you're going to be starting at 1 p.m. on Wednesday. the other key volunteers know their roles between 1 and 5, but I don't think we have any other volunteers showing up between 1 and 4. You're welcome to come in a little bit early if you'd like, but the reality is that there isn't a whole lot happening other than the key volunteers being set up. We're kind of ready for them like about 5 o'clock, right? Does that sound right?
Yes, for the load-in volunteers and people to start arriving to work.
And inspectors?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so between 5 and 5:30, I think Darren's going to give, the lead inspector is going to be giving a briefing so that he's ready for the teams at your timing of 6 o'clock.
So inspectors should arrive between 4:30 and 5, somewhere around in there, and we'll get you all checked in. Team load-in, this is where all 92 teams are going to come into the building for a few minutes. The average length of stay will be about 15 minutes. They're going to drop off their robot. If you're an inspector, you'll be doing bag and tag compliance checks and as the teams are unloading, and then they're going to drop their stuff off in the pits and then leave. Okay. If you're part of the pit admin crew, Cheryl Lomheim is our pit admin person. You might be involved in helping getting things prepared for the morning. You'll probably hear from Cheryl if that's. You should probably already know that. Is that right, Susan?
Some people know it, and some people will know it in the next 24 hours.
Okay.
we are still having quite a number of cancellations and changes that are happening over the weekend. So
Okay.
I'm doing quite a bit of shuffling today. But people will know in the next 24 hours where you are.
Sure. And then the pits, this load-in process is going to start shutting down at 8:25, and we're going to try and get everybody out of there by like 8:30, 8:45, because you have a long day on Thursday as well. All right. So that's kind of what Wednesday looks like if you're part of Wednesday. Mackenzie's asking what volunteers need to be there on Wednesday. Susan, is the best way what's the best way to answer that?
The best way to answer that is if you are available on Wednesday and think you're part of setting up is to email me at the martucci@comcast.net. I've got a crew of volunteers who kind of said they were available but not necessarily going to come if they weren't asked. So I'm putting together how many we need. So if you are still available, I'll be emailing back and forth with you to make sure everybody's there. We are going to need help. It's with the setting up of the fields. Like I said, we have a good number of people to do that, but we could probably use a couple more. And setting up each area, each key volunteer will be there, but if we have some extra hands, we will probably be able to put you to use. We're not looking for hundreds of volunteers, but we do need some hands to set up. And I'll be working with all the volunteers who have listed in VIMs that they're available on Wednesday. So you should be hearing from me about that.
Okay. All right. So on Thursday, so I'm switching over to Thursday. Does that kind of answer your question, Mackenzie? And Kathy's pointing out that if you're not exactly sure where you're supposed to go, who you're supposed to talk to, Kathy Saxton, when you check in, you could ask, where am I supposed to go? And Kathy will have the volunteer assignments and will know kind of where to direct you to. All right, and it sounds like Patrick will be there at 1 o'clock too. All right, so let's talk about Thursday real quick. Thursday is our longest day, by the way. This is called Inspection Day. Most volunteers are going to arrive about 7 a.m. We'll get you checked in. We'll give you some breakfast. And the reality is this is a lot of times when we sort of ask you to find your coworkers in the volunteer lounge so that your key volunteer can explain to you what's going on, and so you can sort of meet up with everybody and find out. There's a lot of impromptu meetings with the staff somewhere around 7:15 or so, just so everybody knows who everybody is. So it's a good time to be there. So if you can try real hard to be at the event center at 7 a.m., that would be awesome.
Yeah, we have had questions in the past about training. When is the training per se? And the key volunteers have all been trained into what their areas do, and so their team can usually be given instructions and training in about 10 to 15 minutes at this little morning gathering, and then a lot of it is on-the-job training as you do it. But you'll have your key volunteers and support people, and I will always be, starting on Thursday, I will always be available by radio, and Kathy Saxton will have one of these radios at the volunteer check-in. So if you come in and you're maybe at an odd time or did not meet up with your group, or for some reason I haven't contacted you to tell you where to go, Kathy can contact me, and I will meet up with you and handle it at that time.
Okay, so on other things that happen Thursday is we have a load-in for the teams who were unable to make it on Wednesday night. But in general, the pit's open, which means somewhere, I'm guessing somewhere about around 13 to 1,500 people will come streaming in the doors at 8:30 a.m., all hot and heavy, ready to work on their robots. And that's when everything goes crazy, and it's a great deal of fun. That's when we need, if you're part of pit admin, that's when registration happens, the machine shop opens, the inspectors are on staff, are all ready to go. So, and that's the key part of Thursday is inspections. That's what the teams need to pass. So you'll see the machine shop will get really busy, and the inspectors are really busy. There isn't a whole lot of action on the field until about 11. We have practice rounds usually from 11 to 5, and that will be an opportunity if you're a member of the field crew to get out there, meet the referees, and for everybody to walk through the game many times so you get comfortable with what it is that you're going to be doing on Friday. We have, again, lunch 11:30 to 1:30-ish. The field lunch is from 12 to 1, so you'll see a bunch of referees and field reset people up there about then. And then if you're a judge, Thursday, you're not actually needed until Thursday. You could probably start showing up around 6:15 for a 7 o'clock meeting, and Kevin Reed and Carrie Mushkin will take care of you and all of the training you need to go through.
Actually, they will go through a check-in very similar to other volunteers.
Yes, they will.
We're going to be handling their check-in just about the same way in the same place.
Yep. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay. Matt, yeah, the radios will be in the same place as they were last year. Game day. So Friday, again, 7 a.m. breakfast is we're pretty consistent that way. The pit's open at 8 o'clock on Friday, and now you're going to have even more people. We're expecting about 2,800 students and mentors that day. It'll be somewhat bigger. The seats will fill. Somewhere around 8:40, 8:45, the opening ceremonies will get kind of kicked off with a parade and some other doings. The gameplay starts at 9:30. It will run until noon. During gameplay, you're going to find that if you're involved with the field at all, if you're a field reset person, if you're a scorekeeper, a referee, any of the queuing positions.
Yeah.
Yep. There's so that this is your time to shine and to really to work with the students. Okay, and that's going to be pretty much all day. That's what Friday is. We're playing the game round after round after round on both fields, and it moves quickly, and it's exciting and it's fun. This is a combination of a rock concert and an NBA game all sort of rolled into one. If you are if you have sensitive hearing and can't handle rock music all day long, I would suggest getting some earplugs or bringing some with you. We'll try and remember to bring some this year.
I like them.
Yeah. Deb is asking, can we park our car overnight at CenturyLink parking? I didn't get a clear answer on that, Deb, and I don't see Michael Campbell on the line. We'll know for sure whether we can park overnight. I don't think you. I'm kind of not. I'm thinking that they probably won't let us this year. Deb, you're special. You and I will talk. We may park in the East Hall. Okay. Anyway. So that's Friday. Friday is all about playing the game. Saturday, hey, guess what? It's all about playing the game again. Again, we arrive at 7. Pits open at 8. Opening ceremonies just like the day before. The difference is that the morning will be qualification rounds, and then there's more at 11:30 to 1:30 is lunch on Saturday, and then we have the elimination rounds from about 1:30 till about I'd say 4 o'clock or so. There'll be teams starting to load out because those are the teams that didn't make it to the finals, and they'll start packing up. And then right after award ceremony, the field and all that AV equipment comes down. It's shocking how fast it moves. So if you are part of the takedown crew, you can expect, we're usually out of there by like 8:30. I don't recall being there much
It
past
goes really fast.
Yes.
Hey, Kevin, do you want to bounce back to Friday for just a moment and mention an evening activity?
Oh, yes. If you're interested, there is a Sounders game on Friday. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So the Sounders are playing. The game starts at 7. They have offered us discount tickets. If you are interested in doing that, you can go up to our website at firstwa.org and click under FRC. And if you go to Seattle Regional, see, where did I put it? Seattle Regional, it's actually under team-specific information is where this section is. And you scroll down here, and, oh, I swear it's in here.
Well, I sent it out with the volunteer email a couple of weeks ago, but a few people may have registered since then, so
yeah,
you can ask me for it if you can't find it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it says, is there a team social? And so we're not doing a team social, but if you open this PDF file, it'll give you instructions on how to get discounted tickets to the Sounders game if you would like to go. I know there are a few teams that are planning on going.
And a few volunteers.
Or a few volunteers. If you're looking for me, I'll probably be at FX McCrory's in the bar with Deb. Okay, so again, if you're part of the teardown and loadout crew, or if you just can't get enough and would like to help us tear down and load out, you can watch the amazing Brogan Thompson and Ron Baker take this field down. They are amazing.
It is quite spectacular.
It is.
It is very spectacular.
Yeah, if you don't derive energy watching Brogan do his thing, there's no hope for you. Okay, so let's see. Oh, and if you're going to invite some friends, and you're welcome to. This event is free and open to the public. If you're inviting people to come down, Friday and Saturday would be the best days for them to do that, between 9:30 and noon or 1 to 5. It's also going to be live streamed on our webcast, so if you want to tell your friends, hey, here's what I'm doing, take a look, you're welcome to do that. Right there on the front page, it'll have a link to the web streaming. Thursday, terrible day for spectators. Really, honestly, it's a complete bust. So don't invite somebody to come watch on Thursday. There isn't a game running, and it's really quite dull. If you have really geeky friends or kids who would just really get a kick out of seeing the robots in the pits, you'll want them to be there either on Friday or on Saturday before noon. Afternoon, you'll see teams packing things up, and the pits get a little bit more crowded, and people aren't quite as enthusiastic because the folks that are actually packing up are the ones that didn't make it. Not that they're sore losers, but their adrenaline levels have dropped off dramatically at that point. Okay? So with that, we have a large number of key volunteers, and I'm going to show you who they are. And so, and just so you know, these are the key people that really make these events happen, and they've all been around long enough that if you get stuck, if you see one, you could ask them what to do, and they'll, if nothing else, know where to send you. Okay. Before I do that, there's a couple of key things that we want to be sure that everybody understands. If somebody's asking you about whether they can or can't do something while they're playing on the field, and they'll ask you, is it legal for me to do this? You need to very politely say, that is a great question. You need to ask a referee. All questions about gameplay go to referees. Please don't try and help them out and make things up or make your own rulings. You're not allowed to do that. I'm the chairman of the thing. I'm not allowed to do that. I also send people to the referees. Okay, so that's really important. And robot technical questions, they need to go to the inspectors, especially if it's a boundary case where you're. Even if even as a team mentor, I could tell them, well, this is what I think is going to happen, but I can't tell them this is the absolute truth. You need to ask an inspector. Okay. So those are the key people that you need to deflect questions from teams for, and then the bosses out on the field are our field supervisors. Okay. So with that, here are some of our key people, just so you know who they are. This is Kathy Saxton. She will be running the check-in desk. There she is there at her little computer there. And and Kathy's been around long enough. She knows who everybody is and what everybody's supposed to be doing. So she's awesome. This is Kevin Reed. He is one of our judge advisors. It turns out I didn't have a picture of Carrie Mushkin, but that's okay.
We'll get one this year.
We'll get one this year. We'll make sure of that. If you are involved in judging and find yourself at a loss for what to do, Kevin Reed knows everything there is to know about judging. This is Paul Roush. He's our machine shop supervisor, and he's a great guy. He's in charge of everything having to do with the machine shop. Kevin Crater, another one of my favorite people on the planet. He's handling all of the things with load-in, and he's also a robot inspector. Our two field supervisors are Brogan Thompson and Ron Baker. Brogan is the best field supervisor in FIRST, in my opinion, almost hands down. He's really great with the students. He's really great with everybody, and he goes at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And he's doing a fine job at training Ron Baker and Pat Severson, who I also didn't have a picture of. These are really, really great guys. And they're very, very helpful out on the field. Our head referees are David Martucci and Mike York. And Mike is currently laying on his side. He ended up having emergency eye surgery last week, so there's a chance that that he may not be able to do it. But we have Andrew Yeckel, who's also a very experienced referee, who's the head referee for Spokane, maybe taking Mike's place. And we're hoping Mike is doing better. He's actually on the call, and but I won't pester him to sit up and talk to us. Darren G is, and he says he's doing well. Okay, Darren G is our lead robot inspector, and Alita Mendez is our other lead robot inspector. These are the people who know everything there is. These are the people who arbitrate what can and can't be on the robot. So, Darren's an awesome guy, and so is Alita, and so those are the key people that we're watching for. So, inspectors, referees, field supervisors, load-in guy. That's a huge job, by the way, getting all those teams in all at once. Our machine shop friend is Paul Roush, Kevin Reed, and of course, the lovely Kathy Saxton. And with that, what else? What did we miss, Susan? Anything?
Boy, we went through it. Do we have any questions hanging out there? You know, I can't see the questions. You can only see the questions.
The FTAs, so the first is sending
we got Frank Merrick.
Frank Merrick,
and, and Kate Pilat.
Oh, Kate. Oh.
Yeah, they love Kate. So we got awesome FTAs this year.
Our MCs are Blair Huntermark, the best MC in FIRST without question. And we have a new MC, Shelley Hart. For those of you who know who Michelle Graff is, Michelle had to take the year off this year. She has spawned and has a lovely young daughter named Alice, and that happened so recently that we did want to impose on her. So I'm sure she'll probably be back next year.
Well, I found out how famous Shelley was. I just mentioned to one or two people who our new MC was, and they were so excited because apparently Shelley is a local celebrity.
She apparently is, yes.
So that would be exciting.
Now, some of you, and actually a lot of you are on here, we have a weird new position this year, which the field guru. We are looking forward in the next couple of years of running way more events than we're running right now. And so we have a whole group of people who are going to be poking their nose everywhere and getting, I see that Carrie's here and I think Ryan's on the list. And so their job is to learn as much as they can about running everything on the field, the queuing, the scorekeeping, the FTA positions, all the rest of that in preparation for what may turn out to be a very exciting year next year where we may end up running like 9 events in a month. So I don't want to scare
All
anybody
these volunteers didn't just drop off, did they?
Yeah, oh God, look at them drop off like crazy now. If you are designated as field guru, I'll be talking to you guys a lot more on Wednesday and Thursday and kind of giving you a heads up of what we're after. So, yes. We have a couple of questions here. Omer is not sure what his assignment is yet. Omer, you're going to find out in the next 24 hours. I know that that Susan is working on finalizing the list. We had to move some people around, and so we didn't want to give you multiple things. Another question is, if we have children competing, we'll be able to excuse ourselves temporarily to watch their competition.
That's going to have to be job specific. If I know where your team is, often I have assigned you so that you're in an area where your child might be working. Also, we try to rotate breaks, so if it's in a job where you're in an off area, you'll try to get some breaks or relief through there. And with playing rounds, the teams are coming up every, 35 or 40 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will come up so that you'll cross paths and be able to see them. And certainly if your specific team makes it to the Final Four or something, we will get a little loose with staffing some jobs so that everybody can see some of the very final events. So we will definitely work with you on that. Does that answer the question?
So the bottom line is, just let us know. We'll do our best to accommodate you because you're here to have a good time as well. And but please don't leave your post unattended because we're kind of relying on everybody being where they are. So we'll just make arrangements. No worries. Any other questions? Okay, so. Yeah, my email is coming up on the next slide, Carrie. But let me do this. So, thank you very much for doing this. This is you're about to participate in a program that has changed thousands of lives, and I wish all of you could see my Facebook inbox and watch to see what the kids say about their experiences with FIRST. This program has become an enormous part of the lives of literally thousands of students. And it's very important to them. It's very impactful for them. And we routinely turn out some just outstanding groups of students, large groups of students. So it isn't just ones and twos. We turn out hundreds of students of great moral character and huge interest in learning and doing things positively for society. So you're going to be part of that. We're going to have, all of us will have a direct impact on all of these students this week, and it's something that I hope that you will feel as proud as I do to do, and will find the same satisfaction as I do, because these are the kids that someday are literally going to take over, and I am very comforted by that. As opposed to our current crop where I keep having to vote for the least worst candidate. Anyway.
Absolutely, and honestly, if you're a first-time volunteer, we as an organization have one of the highest retention rates of volunteers because people just can't get enough of it. They keep coming back. It is amazing to see what these kids have put together and just how they behave, and you're just proud to know them. So you'll have a great time.
Yep. Money back guarantee. Okay, well, so I don't want to keep you all night. Thank you so much for attending. If you have questions about your volunteer role or direct volunteer sort of questions, Susan's is your star. She will figure it all out. I know that she is planning on sending a very large mass email tomorrow. So if you're thinking about asking about your specific assignment tonight, when do you think you could send that out tomorrow?
That'll go out either late tonight or tomorrow morning tomorrow before 3 o'clock.
Yeah. So if you have a question about your specific job, if you could do us the favor of just hanging out until tomorrow to see if her email answers your questions, we'd really appreciate it. You can contact me, Kevin Ross, kevinro @firstwa.org, with any other questions about the event, or if you would like to give us money, or if your corporation would like to be a sponsor or something like that, or anything else that doesn't directly relate to your volunteer position. I defer all volunteer questions to Susan because that way we have one chief. All right. With that, I want to thank everybody for attending, and
Thank you.
all a very good night.